be speaking to the best trade union and labour movement event in the world in Durham. And I bring greetings from Christina, who is really, really sad that she can't be here this afternoon. But for me to be speaking at this event is absolutely incredible. And it's particularly humbling, I've got to say, to be speaking at the first big meeting following the pandemic, standing side by side with all of these amazing key workers who kept the country going and sacrificed themselves for all of us. Now look, the pandemic showed why solidarity is so important. Trade unions were at the forefront of protecting workers in our workplaces and people in our communities. And that's why we need trade unions to be the strongest and the biggest they can be. And as Stephen's already said, if you're not in a union, join one and join one today. And it's also, though, why we must defend our democracy, defend our right to demonstrate and to organise, and defend our right to strike. This government, well, I mean, frankly, can you call the shambles that we've got a government? And I've got a message for them and for whoever's the next leader, because really it's irrelevant in terms of their policies. Unison sends this message. We're strong, we're resolute, and we're up for the fight. Our 1.3 million members, 1 million of whom are women, demand better. Because with this government, the poorer you are, the higher the price you pay. Struggling families forced to choose between putting the heat on or eating. Food banks, I mean, for goodness sake, in 2022, what country thinks it's okay to have food banks? It's a disgrace! 1 in 4 people missing meals, and public services, I can tell you, are in crisis, and they're in crisis because of this government's year-on-year cuts to their funding. And then, unbelievably, we've got government ministers saying, well, you know what, if you cannot afford to make ends meet, why don't you try and get another job? Why don't you do 2, 3 or 4 jobs? Why don't you do more hours? These people are completely unreal and are completely out of touch with the reality of ordinary people's lives. And you know what? You know what about this government as well? They chose political choices. They chose not to increase taxes for the wealthiest. Oh no. They chose not to introduce a windfall tax on excessive profits. What did they choose to do? They chose to increase national insurance at a time of a cost of living crisis. That's a tax on working people. They chose, disgracefully, to cut universal credit when people cannot put food on the table. They choose not to pay many key workers a living wage. They blocked increasing sick pay for some of the lowest paid. These are political choices. Poverty is a choice made by the powerful. Austerity is another word for class war, and it's got to end. And that's why we need collective action to demand different political choices. And I tell the people in government and those who argue with us that there's no money to fund these things. It's absolute rubbish. There's loads of money. There's loads of money to fund public services and give people a cost of living pay rise. I just want to give you a few suggestions from Unison. So what the government could do is maybe they could tackle the tax dodgers getting rich on our taxes. Maybe they could get back the billions of our taxpayers' money, our money, on fraudulent PPE contracts that was useless, on a privatised track and trace system that I don't think has track and traced anyone to this day. It's a disgrace. I think a government that allows people to profit in the time of a global health pandemic should hang their heads in shame and should be booted out of office. And they should stop privatisation of public services. They should stop it now. No more. Bring services back in-house where they're delivered better. And they should use that money to fund public services that we all need, and they should use that money to give public sector and other key workers a cost of living pay rise. Let's be clear, it wasn't NHS, education, council care or police staff who caused the cost of living crisis. No, they put themselves in harm's way day after day, month after month, year after year to keep us safe. People such as Doreen and Rachel from Unison on the platform today and every other key worker on this platform, who now this government have the nerve to expect to go from being on the front line to living on the breadline. Unison says no, we also need to say no. We will not accept it. Unison is ready for strike action. We will defend our members' pay, our members' terms and conditions, and we will protect public services. We applaud the RMT on delivering national value and a national strike action. We applaud you because what you've shown is the anti-trade union laws, which this country have the worst in Europe, can and will be beaten. Unison members were proud to join picket lines and will join picket lines of every other worker in struggle. Unison was also proud to take to the streets in London last month to be part of a collective trade union movement, sending a message to the government that we will not accept key workers being asked to bear the brunt of the cost of living crisis while profiteers get richer and richer day after day after day. So, trade unions and the labour movement coming together in collective action can and will deliver the change that we all need to see. The tide is turning, we demand better. I tell you, another world is possible. Solidarity, together we will rise.